Oh crap, I don't even know what to say at this point. They're literally building the new collider to start collision. Again. Or so what we thought. Guys, sorry for not uploading for a couple weeks because of summer break, but I'm back for more updates on what is happening right now as of this new Chapter 7 Season 3 update, as right now what's going on in OG is a lot more stranger, but I really want to more focus on this device over there, which the 7, well, so-called 7, are building to stabilize the 0 point, which is nicknamed the Stabilizer. And it's very weird because the stabilizer that they're building is reminiscent to the collider as we saw back in Chapter 3 Season 2's collision event. Which, if you don't know what the collider is, guys, it is a doomsday device that Geno and Dr. Sloan built to use the 0 point at advantage to get rid of the 7 by shattering the loop, with the use of its crystals, and the 0 point collides with them and everything just falls apart. But it turns out that this type of device is going to be like role reversal. Instead of detonation, it is meant to do stabilization in a way. But how is this stabilizer device going to work anyway? Well, there is in fact a huge exclamation. And I bet that this type of event that's going to take place might be Dr. Sloan betraying the 7, but it doesn't matter anymore since we already know who's out there pulling the strings. In the beginning, we always saw like 3 platforms along with some construction site, and at first I thought they were building some type of tower or something, but it turns out if you take a look at these stations over there, you could see that it has some type of laser panel or something like that. And if you take a look at the blueprints, you can see it's linked to a huge device, and this is known as the Stabilizer. Despite that Dr. Sloan and Singularity got to the island very late, after what happened and what they saw on what Dark Voyager did along with his master. Yeah, his master. And at some point, Dr. Sloan saw what the 0 point is doing, and as a result, the sprites actually got to the island, which according to her, the sprites are linked to the 0 point in a way. But she has a huge idea. The sprite extractors are 1 point, but what if she constructs some type of device that is able to force these energy into the 0 point, and that way it could actually be stabilized again? Well, this is where the stabilizer device comes to play. And as you can see, the blueprints that they made. And according to Dr. Sloan herself, she mentions that she is going to be constructing this device in order to stabilize the 0 point. And while she's doing that, she orders her former colleague, well, colleague again, the Singularity, to create some type of software that is going to be connected to the stabilizer, and that way it could perform some calculations on where to aim and also how much energy it is going to pulsate towards the 0 point so that it can be stabilized again. Well, despite that the visitor's idea of trying to use the artificial machine intelligence engine to connect with the stabilizer, Dr. Sloan, as a bat, shut that shit down real quick. Because she knows that she doesn't even trust Amy, which she didn't realize that she now has ties to Geno. Which gladly Dr. Sloan is smart enough to literally shut down the visitor real quick. And the Singularity also agrees because she believes that Amy would probably write some insults, which it translates to absolute miscalculation that is going to do another collision once again. And what the Singularity saw far away from Reality Zero was very clear. Even after leaving the I.O. before collision, she saw what Geno and Dr. Sloan were doing with this device, and she doesn't want this situation to happen again. Especially as to now that her lord is literally standing in front of them both. Which reminder again, Geno actually ordered the collider, and Dr. Sloan created the whole project, the blueprints, and ordered it to be built along with her other affiliates. And now it's happening again, this time Dr. Sloan in general. And now you got Geno on her side. Well, very soon on her side, as Geno's going to reveal very soon. It's like history repeating itself. But there's one problem. The Singularity cannot even create a superintelligence this strong, but she has a huge idea that can actually have a superintelligence to be connected to the stabilizer in a way so that can get the job done, which is the shape. And if you don't know what the shape is, guys, the shape in Golden Coast is actually a massive diamond structure inspired by Las Vegas's sphere, which implements a screen and it has a face on it, and I don't even know what's going on. But on the inside, there's a huge arena over there where people can actually experience some crazy looking But unlike the sphere, the shape is actually very intelligent that is basically implemented by this artificial intelligence located in Sandy Strip, now known as Sinister Strip, since according to Dr. Sloan, Dark Voyager now controls that part now, and it's believed to be his headquarters, where he does this crazy behind-the-scenes operations, and it's allegedly that since the Foundation has been gone missing for the past couple weeks, it could mean that Dark Voyager could have been holding the Foundation hostage even after he is unfrozen, or he's still in that location. I don't even know. Let me know in the comments, guys, where is the Foundation? But if you take a look at the shape right now, it's being controlled by a mind-controlling device that is holding a sign saying serve the Voyager, obey the Voyager, and stuff like that. All of this propaganda for perfection implemented by Geno, and it's believed to be corrupted by this golden cube energy, which the same golden cube as we saw in the Dark Harvester might have been cut to pieces and it's used in Sinister Strip, and the remains of it are probably used by Dark Voyager to actually implement this shape to look like this, which you can see those cube runes on those pixels over there. Meaning the Singularity needs to take back that shape by trying to unplug this brainwashing device, which Geno and Dark Voyager actually put this on top of the shape, and once they done that, they're probably gonna connect that shape towards the stabilizer device, and everything goes to plan right here. So the plan is simple. Dr. Sloan is building a massive Doomsday-like device, well, not Doomsday device, a stabilizer device to stabilize the 0 point, while the Singularity has a plan to free the shape from Dark Voyager's to control and secretly Geno's control, but she doesn't realize it yet. Once she frees the shape, she would actually get some type of codes from the shape from distance and use that advantage to plant that towards the stabilizer device. And how is this going to be done? Well, the Singularity has a plan of using some type of hard drive to place the codes into it. And luckily, the corruption energy towards that shape will be gone before the Voyager even noticed. But Geno is noticing very quickly as to what the Singularity is doing, but has to keep it to himself to not actually break character here. Classic Geno. Similar to how Dr. Sloan says Classic Jones, I say to Geno, Classic Geno. And even this goes to plan, they're not done yet because Geno has in mind that the sprites might be the connection. Since Dr. Sloan mentions earlier that the sprites are connected to the 0 point, Geno knows this too. And while all that's happening, us the loopers are going to be going with Geno to go and mass extract a lot of those sprites, meaning more sprites are going to be popping up across the island. Other than the galaxy golden sprites, we're going to be seeing some strange sprites that look like this and some craziness that looks like this. And let me play this voice line of Geno actually just having some relief of leaving the lab and all this stuff, because this seems suspicious.
We need you to find a power source for the 0 point stabilizer.
Sprites are the answer. I can feel it. It is a nice relief to step away from the lab. There are a lot of cooks in this particular kitchen. Thankfully, we are each in charge of our own dish. Looper, you and I are going to be learning how to do a sort of, sprite reduction, without harming the little beasts. Of course.
And I can assume that Geno is simping over this because he wants that 0 point to be as perfect and good as new. Because he doesn't even want a 0 point that looks broken. He wants it, oh wow, that looks really good. I really like that one. And after that, I am going to get that vault over there, and then we're going to put it over there, and then we'll establish order again across the Amit. Oh my gosh. That plan that they're implementing, it's like the imagined order is being rebuilt in front of our eyes. Geno also claims that Dr. Sloan is a huge benefit since she's a genius as much as Geno, and he claims that alignments between the Visitor and Dr. Sloan are very, very strong to the point that everything is getting done really fast. But when that alignment ends between the Visitor and Dr. Sloan, well, he even says this, and I quote, "But when that alignment ends, well, her only true loyalty is to her ideals," which, what are her ideals exactly? Well, the Imagined Ore's restoration as well as Geno's return, but she doesn't realize that Geno is here, and the Imagined Ore is being rebuilt very, very, very fast. And Geno even claims that it's been a long time since he's been so, like, hands-on, which means that he is so hands-on to the point that he has the best scientists in the Omniverse on his side, and also that he's having the 0 point in his hands again to actually implement control and do this whole loop thing one more time. And then once that's done, he is going to continue on his campaign of creating a perfect civilization, as what the Imagined Order always does in their own ways. and everything's gonna end horribly as Dark Voyager in this point. Since he has more power, and despite his alignments with the Master, Geno, I think something is going to go wrong with the Dark Voyager. Because cubes usually devour, and the way that Dark Voyager actually has his final form, he can actually betray Geno and try to bring the last reality as a huge threat, which is why the Imagined Order formed. It's to protect themselves from the last reality and to create a perfect civilization that's going to implement suffering in one way or another. It's either that, it's suffering between the last reality and it's suffering between the Imagined Order. And this is going to happen again next season, but it's going to be a lot more crazy as this is all going according to Geno's plan. And I bet that in this season, if Dark Voyager were to betray Geno in a way, and decides to truly bring the last reality as like a threat to him, or to finish off as if what they could have done in the very start, well, I'm using Dr. Sloan's words, that is going to end extremely horribly in this way, which I don't want this to actually happen, but it could be a possibility since we're gonna have to accept this reality that's going to happen in front of our eyes. The way I'm actually connecting the dots all together, I don't know if Geno is ever going to interfere with that device ever, because all he wanted is the 0 point. He got Dark Voyager to actually find the shards to build the 0 point. Now he's having Dr. Sloan to restabilize the 0 point alongside the singularity connecting the shape here. And once all that's finished, I think Geno's probably not going to interfere. He's going to get this sorted out and actually get this over with, since the only thing he wanted is the 0 point. That's according in the Shatter event when he's talking to the Ice King before he died. Like, the 0 point is the only thing he wants and everything else is just absolute irrelevant to him. And at the very end, the way that Dr. Sloan says this is keeping it safe, well, we already know what's gonna go on, especially for this season and the updates that are going to be upon our faces, which is going to absolutely go crazy as OG and Battle Royale are both connected. And what's happening with OG and this Devour over there, oh my gosh, it looks like a horrendous version as to what Midas used to look like. And I don't know how that event's gonna play out. But since the Singularity is in Battle Royale, who's gonna build a mech? Either these two or someone else. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments who do you think is gonna build the new mech. Unless if the Singularity were to use the Strike Commander, but she had to reprogram it as to what Geno done to her mech earlier. And I believe this is gonna go well for the Imagined Order. Well, the restored Imagined Order, and I think it's gonna go horribly wrong for Dark Voyager since it's not supposed to be this way. And soon he's probably going to betray Geno and do what he wants to do, since they are like the last reality and wants to make this as the last reality. They want to enslave the 0 point, so does them. And just to give more updates on Jones, if you take a look at what's going on with Jones right now, he is still comatose, but I still wish him a recovery since there's balloons and cards along with Pili giving a thumbs up, hoping and wishing for Jones to have a speedy recovery. Also, Hope is still keeping an eye on Jones and still painting on a canvas because her visions are returning to see the future of the Fortnite storyline as well as the Imagined Order's return. Guys, let me know in the comments, how do you think this is going to play out and how do you think this device is going to work towards the 0 point? And as always, thank you guys for watching and I'll give you guys more updates.